Hey guys, and welcome to another video. All right, 11.2 miles, 7:55 or 4:55 a kilometer average pace. But today's run was a little different because, and this is what this episode is about, I am testing the Skechers GORun Max Road 4 Hyper. Yes, it's a mouthful. So this was my first run. Let's get inside and I'm going to tell you what I think about this shoe. All right, that was a great run in the Skechers GORun Max Road 4 Hyper. Yeah, listen, I've already said it, I'm gonna say it again, that name is a mouthful. Skechers has been really getting into the performance shoe game over the last couple years, and I've been really excited to try these shoes out. The GORun Max Road 4 is a max cushioning road shoe. Now, you may have picked that up from the name because there is both max and road in the name. But it was such a mouthful that I thought you may have not picked up on the nuances of the name. If you're anything like me, you're drawn to words like max, hyper, go. You know, these buzzwords that make me really excited to at least tell the next 10 people what I'm running in. Let's talk about how these shoes look, because I know for some people that's the most important thing. Not us though, right? I know you're concerned with stack height, drop, weight, cuppability. Cuppability, you know how the shoe cups your foot? I just made that up, forget it. All right, I think the black and lime colorway looks pretty sweet, and I am really liking this big chunk of Hyperburst foam. I really just think it looks pretty good. You can see right here, Hyperburst is emblazoned on the side. Is that gonna focus for you right there? There we go. Hyperburst. We'll get back to Hyperburst in a second because that is probably the biggest change that Skechers has done this year. They've come out, they've got the Hyperburst foam in a lot of their shoes. The difference between this GORun Max Road 4 and the GORun Max Road 3 is the sole, the Hyperburst sole. This shoe has a stack height of 29 millimeters in the heel and 23 millimeters in the forefoot, giving it a 6 millimeter drop. Now, I generally tend to favor a bigger drop. I don't know why I feel guilty saying that I like a bigger drop. It seems like, you know, all the cool kids wear these zero drop shoes, but not me. I generally favor a bigger drop in my shoe. But saying that, the 6 millimeter drop, I didn't notice anything bad about it. The only thing I noticed difference from my normal daily runners, which are a 10 millimeter drop, are that when I was walking, my heel kind of hit the ground sooner, or my heel striking the ground was noticeable. But this went away when I ran, so these are running shoes, so that's not to take anything away. I just wanted to let you know what I noticed different. And I don't even know if that's anything to do with the drop, but I did notice it when I was walking. But I'm not going to be walking in these shoes. Oh gosh, I am just rambling. All right, onward. This is considered a lightweight max cushioned shoe, and the advertised weight of, I think it's men's size 9, 8.4 ounces or 236 grams. Now, I wear a size 13 and my size comes in at 10.5 ounces or 300 grams. As I said, the Hyperburst foam is a new addition to 2019, and Skechers have been spreading around the love to all their shoes, just Hyperburst foam for everyone. And there's probably a good reason, because it feels pretty good. Listen, as soon as I put these shoes on, it just felt like a pair of slippers, super soft. No, better than slippers, because slippers, you don't have this much foam beneath your feet. It really felt comfortable just sliding them on and walking around the house for the first time. So the first couple steps and you immediately notice the cushioning. Now, I'll be honest, this is the first max cushion shoe I've ever worn. So I have never worn any Hokas. I've never worn any shoes with like a really, well, you know, max cushion shoe. I've never worn one, and I was really pleasantly surprised. The ride was very soft, but not spongy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was soft and it was comfortable and it was fairly responsive. Now, we're not talking responsive like a pair of Vaporflies or even the Zoom Flies, which I usually run in for my daily runners. But I didn't expect them to be as responsive as they were. So it wasn't like you took a step and then you just sunk into a pillow. No, they did have some pop. Now, when I took these out of the box, I saw these lugs, and it's a little different, but look at these lugs. They're kind of raised. You know, I like that. I like the way it looks. And now I only ran 11.2 miles on this first run, and I am not seeing any wear on the rubber. But why would I? It's 11.2 miles. That's not really long enough. I'm glad I don't see any wear this early on. Look at this. Look how flexible. Look how flexible this shoe is. It's super flexible. This flexibility is partially due to the forefoot flex grooves. These grooves allegedly aid in flexibility, and they provide a smooth toe off, a smooth transition. Could there be any downsides to this flexibility? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's right for me to say after only running 11.2 miles in this shoe. I don't think so right now. I didn't notice anything wrong with the flexibility in this shoe, and I was pretty happy with the run. But first, let's talk about the upper. This upper is a one-piece fly knit, and there's no tongue. It's just like, it's all just one piece. So, I'm gonna get a little closer to show you. It's like sliding your foot into a sock. And it just goes in, and we have this nice tight little kind of gasket that goes around your ankle, and it feels really good. Like, you put it in, and this fly knit is very soft, and I don't know if me just pinching it is coming across on camera as how soft this really is, but when you slide your foot in, it feels really good, especially through the toe box. It felt like there was plenty of room. I didn't have any hot spots on the run. You can feel a little rigidity, as they've got some rigidity just to aid in keeping your foot in place while you're running. And that's probably a good thing. I mean, we really don't want to be running in slippers, right? We do need some support when we run. You know what? I was a little worried about trying them on and running in them because of the movement within the shoe. So let me just tell you what other people have found. They have found that it kind of feels like their foot is sliding about inside the shoe. I did not find that really. When I laced them up for the first time, I realized that I really had to cinch down the laces. Like, I had to tie them pretty tight, and I was worried about getting hot spots maybe across the top of my laces, but I ran for 1 hour and 28 minutes, and these shoes felt good the entire time. General complaints have been about this shoe is that when you're going around corners, your foot will kind of slide to the outside, and because we've got this fly knit upper that doesn't really hold your foot in place, there is a little bit of movement. So today, and of course, you know, these are road shoes. So generally we're running straight. We're not like zigzagging on trails. So that may be a moot point. But there was a couple of times that I would step off a curb and I had to make a sharp left or a sharp right. And I was very conscious of feeling my foot moving within the shoe. And I think my foot did move within the shoe, but it didn't leave me feeling uncomfortable. All right, it didn't leave me feeling like I was going to slide out of my shoe or my foot was going to slide off. I didn't feel like my ankles were in danger, like my foot rolling off the side and twisting an ankle. So as I said, I had these shoes cinched down pretty tight, and they really felt good for the entire run. You know, guys, this is the first pair of shoes I've had that has the fly knit upper. So if you've been watching this channel for a while or you're following me on Strava, you know that my shoe of choice has been the Nike Zoom Fly. And I have gone from the first iteration to the third iteration because there was something about the fly knit upper that just didn't sit well with me. But you know, I saw these shoes, I saw all the hype behind them, and I really wanted to give these a try. And listen, there's really nothing wrong with this fly knit upper. And maybe that has something to do with the foot movement. So if you have running shoes that have a fly knit upper, go ahead and write in the comments below and let me know if it's normal to have a bit more foot movement just because of how kind of soft and pliable the fly knit upper is. And listen, I want to know about other brands because I've run in these now and I know how these feel. So if you've run in any other brands with the fly knit upper, let me know how the movement is in the comments below. Okay, something I was also worried about is that these shoes could be a little warm to run in. Now I live in Florida and it's warm enough anyway. And when I finished my run today, it was 71 degrees Fahrenheit. I was soaked after this run, but not soaked enough that my shoes were wet. So in the summertime, I have to stuff my shoes with newspaper every day. Doesn't matter if I go out for 2 miles or 10 miles. I'm gonna sweat enough that my shoes get soaked. Are these gonna make my feet sweat more? I don't think so, because I can't sweat any more than I do. I soak every pair of shoes that I run in. So I'm not really worried about these feeling too warm. What will I be using these shoes for? Listen, these are very, very, very comfortable. I'll give it a 3 very in the comfortable department. These are going to be great for my daily runners. And again, if you follow me on Strava, you know that 90% of my runs are very easy. So they're either easy or even easier, like recovery runs. And that is where these shoes will be really good. Now, after my run today, I did go out and I did a couple strides. And listen, I really didn't notice anything bad. Would I do a race in these shoes? Probably not. Probably not, because I don't think it's the best tool for the job. But for a daily runner or long runs or recovery runs, I really think that this shoe hits the spot. Okay. Listen, I wanted to get this review out there after my first run because I wanted to let you know what my first impressions was. However, I am going to do a 20-mile run tomorrow in these shoes. And lucky for you, 20 miles is going to come in the blink of an eye. So without further ado, let's skip to tomorrow. All right, guys. 20 miles or 32 kilometers at an average pace of 8:21 per mile or 5:11 a kilometer. Guys, I really wanted you to think that I'm a badass and I wanted it to be pouring with rain when I finish this run. It has literally stopped raining about half a mile ago and I just logged about 31 of those 32 kilometers in the pouring rain and I'm absolutely soaked. But you're here for these shoes, and these shoes are also pretty soaked. And let's see, they stayed on pretty well. I have to tell you, these shoes performed just as well today as they did yesterday on my 11.2 mile run, which is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I noticed no difference in the shoes, so there were no hot spots. The ride didn't start feeling firmer as the miles rolled on. It kept giving me that excellent cushioned feel. Now, I'm sure they have gained a couple of grams in water weight, but the grip factor, the grippiness was excellent. I was running on wet pavement the whole time and I was kind of zigzagging around in a couple places and there was no slippage. So that's awesome. There was a couple of deep puddles that I ran through, just soaking my shoes. Of course, it was raining the whole time, so they were soaked anyway. But what I'm trying to say is that the shoes did not degrade when they got wet. They stayed tight. I was a little worried about that fly knit upper, you know, getting a little stretchy and just disgusting when it got wet, but it didn't. It stayed tight, kept my foot in place. My toes feel really good. It feels comfortable across the midfoot. And yeah, so I am gonna have to recommend these shoes. In my last 2 runs, so I've run about, I don't know, a little over 50k in the last 2 runs, and they've performed superbly. So as I mentioned before, I won't be using these shoes for racing. It just doesn't seem the right shoe for that. But for these long runs and just recovery runs, the comfort is superb. My friends, if you got any value from this video, if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. It gives me feedback as to what type of videos to produce in the future. As always, if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe. If you are already subscribed, thank you, and be kind, be happy, and run well, and I will see you guys next time. Just wanted to show you the weight I gained on this run because it rained so much. So these shoes are soaked, and if you remember, when these shoes were dry, they weighed 10.5 ounces or 300 grams. Let's take a look, see how much they weigh now. Wow, 13.4 ounces, 382 grams. So almost 3 ounces and 82 grams in water weight after that 20-mile run. Okay guys, that's it. Again, be kind, be happy, run well. See you next time.